morning. It is Friday, May 3rd, 2024. This is Option Pit Live. We've got a big show set up for you. We're going to walk through the non-farm payrolls that were just released, talk Apple earnings, talk about some other earnings, some stocks we like. Maybe if we're lucky, Andrew will give us a ride in his vehicle. So we've got lots to cover. But the news is out, Leisha, and I got to tell you, they like the non-farm payrolls. U.S. April non-farm payrolls up 175,000 versus the consensus 240,000. Unemployment rate 3.9%, consensus 3.8. U.S. April average hourly earnings up 0.2%. Year over year 3.92%. And private sector payrolls up 167,000. Government payrolls up 8,000. The labor force participation rate 67.2. The work week went down by 0.1 hours. And March was revised up from up 315,000 jobs. Feb revised up 236,000. So a lot of news, and boy, did they out the gate.
Fine.
They love these earnings. Heading into heading into this economic report, S&P futures were trading. Let's see, 5107.5, up about 12 points, and we're currently 51.45. So they rallied us almost 40 points off of that news. It's a I don't see where the massive win is. You got a miss on non-farms, a miss on unemployment, but still positive. The average hourly earnings isn't. Maybe that's the one they're looking at. But boy, they really like that number a lot. And we're now up 40 points from that low. What's your take, Leisha?
All I see are Qs and SPY are just flying.
Yeah.
I don't know any kind of reason to rally. Like you say, I don't think the numbers were any kind of less inflationary or doesn't sound like that to me.
No, they sounded pretty in line, maybe a little bit soft, and I guess like still growing but soft. What is kind of the market number that everyone liked. U.S. fund futures raised chances of a rate cut in September to 78%. And it was 63%.
That's the news.
It's rate cut related.
That's got to be it.
Yeah, Treasury yields did tumble. Let me tell you what happened with.
Yeah, bonds are railing.
With the 10-year. The 10-year, oh my, it shot up. It was trading 108. The 10-year was trading 108.14 prior to the announcement. It's now 109. So that's a pretty strong move out of the bond market, and
they're busting out of this trading range up over the median line. So yeah, bonds look ready to rally.
Okay, well, talk to us about what we're looking at. We're looking at a pitchfork of TLT
10-year.
and 10-year note.
Yeah, and it was consolidating down below this resistance, the red median line. Now it is nice bullish candle 3 days ago and has now popped up over and is looking ready to rally. 109.
And these are pitchforks that you use to set levels and manage positions and manage trades. And you gave a complete discussion about pitchforks yesterday.
We did.
And how to trade them, right?
We did.
And
very exciting.
It was exciting. It was a lot of fun. We showed everybody how to look at Apple, the whole 9 yards. But yeah, look at that pitchfork. That looks pretty impressive. And you were pulling up TLT. How does TLT look?
Well, T looks like it's trying to break out of its little trade. It has a trading range also. It hasn't quite broken out yet, though. We need to see it over 89.40 to be breaking out of that.
Yeah, well, the long bond is getting a huge pop. Prior to the announcement, the 30-year bond was trading 115.09. It's up a full point to 116.11. Big move, over 1%. So the back end of the curve is really picking things up. And man, they are continuing to rally the market. We're now trading 51.55, just a huge number out of. I mean, they really like that number. I don't fully understand it, but they
It's
liked
got to
it.
be the rate,
I'll tell you that
the
much.
change percentage going higher.
Yeah. Well, awesome. So we've got non-farm payrolls. We're moving on that. Let's hit on some charts with Leisha, because as you guys know, Leisha, former market maker on the SIBO, but also former commodities trader, and she had to become a expert charter. You wanted to look at a few charts here. Let's start with crude oil.
Yeah, look at crude finally finding a little love here, a little support. Could be ready to bounce off of that parallel line. Has a nice little doji, which is a change in trend candle that signals a possible change in this downtrend. And now we have today, we're up a little bit. Crude could be trying to rally here.
I continue to think that crude's going higher. We're not there yet, but I continue to think crude is going higher. Next up is ES, and it is bouncing off your. You and I were looking at this yesterday in that event,
Yeah,
and it had been honoring this median line. And you tell me that on a pitchfork, that median line is like that's the line,
right.
and
That's,
if it's honoring it, it's honoring it. And so this big move is gonna absolutely vault us. Where's your upside on ES?
I see resistance here, 51.69.
Okay.
And then above there would be 52.43.
All right. Well, we're 51.48.5. So in theory, we could
Not
rally
far.
another 16
Yeah,
points and then run into resistance. Now, what is setting your resistance there?
this
That trend line?
this resistance line comes in as going across. Support here, resistance, support, and then the next parallel level on the pitchfork that's held since October of 23.
Oh, wow.
Very nicely followed. And again, this median line was tested from below back here, from above here at it, and now it's being tested again as support and has validated the pitchfork once again, and we're rallying.
We are. All right. So we've hit ES, we've hit oil. What about the shiny stuff? What do you see in? Because obviously, I would imagine this is going to be bearish gold, but gold has just been so strong.
Yes, it has. I just read I read somewhere, I think it was Goldman, predicting gold to go to 3,000. And also an article this morning, Goldman's going to cash and commodities.
So what you're telling me is Goldman is getting completely out of cash and commodities, and Goldman is selling gold. Because anytime
No, they're going into cash and commodities. They're leaving the stock market.
Oh, really?
So that's what it said this morning. So again, parallel line being tested. And I don't know, hard to say. Could be bear flagging here, but we do have some support on gold. We need a little more evidence to move away from there and trade higher or bust down below it. Let's check the
All right.
dollar.
Yeah, I was about to ask you to look at the dollar.
Whoa,
It's like you're
look at
reading my
that.
mind, Misha.
Huge move in the dollar.
Oh, wow. That is massive.
Yeah.
Down.
Good reason
I
to
mean,
get into commodities.
down 0.75% doesn't sound a lot, but when you're dealing in currency, that is a massive, massive move, folks.
Yeah.
Let me be very clear. Yeah, we've actually exited one of your pitch. It looks like, am I right? We exited the pitchfork that it was in, and we're into a different one. Talk
Yeah,
to me about what I'm looking at here.
we're into a much larger, older pitchfork, but we do have support just below here. The convergence of these two support
Oh, wow,
levels
look at
should
that.
be some pretty good support. Not too far down. We'll see what it happens when it reaches there.
Pretty interesting. So we looked at ES, we looked at gold, oil, and the dollar. Last one we have to look at is the triple Q,
Oh, sure.
because that is obviously the triple Q has been the dog. I mean, the S&P has been the tail to a lot of things. It's been the tail of the bond market, tail of the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq has definitely been leading. What are you seeing out of the triple Q here currently as you and I are chatting? Triple Q is up
My
massively.
my resistance line here comes from these lows and this high. So it's a pretty good one. And guess where we're trading? Right there. 434.
434.05 and
Yeah.
434, and your resistant line is 434. It's
434.12.
yeah, we're right there, right up
Right
against it.
there.
Yeah. Pretty strong move. We're this morning you're seeing a lot of names look much higher. Man, SPY is up $6.
I know. I was looking at
Was
that.
the news that good?
That's what I'm
Someone
saying. Look at
explain to me why
Qs
the
are up
news is
7.
Yeah, someone explain to me why we're rallying so hard.
It's got to be that rate change.
From in September.
Chances going higher, right?
Yeah,
Are they still? They're still hung up on the rates.
I thought that they were past the rate thing, but apparently not. Pretty impressive, frankly.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, obviously you've got Apple in there, and we're gonna hit on Apple here in a second. Apple is having a very nice day. Nvidia is up. The mega cap ETF. Do you ever look at MGK on your charts? MGK. This is the 90 largest companies in the S&P 500. You have to be worth, I want to say, $100 billion to be included in this ETF. But it looks a lot like the rest of the market, right?
Oh yeah. 279. Oh, you're above that resistance there, 279. You'll probably be heading up to here, 288, 289.
Wow.
You're right here now. Yeah, looking bullish.
Yeah, it is. And the VIX is going to open below 14. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. The VIX is going to open below 14.
I see that.
VIX futures are getting pretty aggressively smushed. I believe, the front month future is now 1460. Pretty impressive move. Let me share my screen.
Sure is.
Still have like that big kink up in October, but that includes November, the November election. But we're in a pretty steep contango now. UVXY is getting absolutely smoked. UVIX looks like it is getting ready to reverse split. But we've got a whole. I mean, this has been, I think, the most interesting week of the year. We had
It really has.
Amazon and AMD. We've had the Federal Reserve, Apple earnings yesterday, and non-farm payrolls. I don't know if we're going to see that all line up in the same week again this year. So I think this might be the most action-packed of the year. Speaking of action-packed, you can't have an action-packed day without one, Andrew T. Giovinazzi, who is going to join us as we dig into trade talks. Andrew, welcome.
Good
Happy
morning,
Friday.
Andrew.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
All right, what's your take on this move out of out of SPOOs and the Nasdaq? SPOOs, by the way, is a tradery term for the S&P 500 because the old symbol when it traded on the floor was SPZ, so we called them SPOOs. Now you'll hear people call it ES. So what's your take on this non-farm payroll number? It was bad. It was so bad it was good.
Well, it doesn't feel like a little bit of that. Like it wasn't too hot, obviously.
No.
Because now the market is focused back on inflation. So a lighter non-farm payroll. What we used to call it Goldilocks. We have kind of a Goldilocks, used to say, Mark, Goldilocks report, where
Goldilocks.
not too hot, not too cold. So I think there's a little of that. And plus, I think there's just flat out relief, right? So Apple is throwing $100 billion into the market supporting their stock. Every time I look at Apple, I hear what you say about, Tim Cook, great administrator. He's kept the ship running, but like the best idea he can come out with now is, well, we have an AI initiative and we're going to spend $100 billion to buy the stock near the top. Like that's it. So,
what that sounds like? I was going to wait to circle the Apple earnings, but let's dig in. In 2014, I'm walking to the train from my house in Riverside, beautiful Riverside, Illinois, one of the 10 towns that changed America. I'm reading how how IBM is going to buy $40 billion of their own stock. And I'm looking at the stock, and IBM is trading $230 a share. And I ask myself, I'm like, why are they spending so much on their stock when they're a technology company and there's tons of tech out there? They could be investing in growing the business, yada. I mean, I literally asked myself, and that wasn't the top, but it was within a few weeks of the top.
Right.
I'm all for stock buybacks to like pay employee bonuses, to, a little bit here or there. $110 billion in stock buybacks tells me Apple has no vision and is maybe the most bearish thing long term. Near term it's bullish, but long term, maybe the most bearish thing Apple could have done is to decide to buy back $110 billion. Alicia, what do you think?
I'm with you. I think you covered it.
It's ridiculous. And I know we're going to cover that Monday on our show a little more on the ticker highlight show, but
yeah.
But short term, it's very, I think I hate this term, but it feels like it's a stabilizing influence. The S&P 500 really can't rally without Apple at least not going anywhere, not going down. So now you have Apple kind of as a non-factor, and some of these other stocks, I'm just looking at, the tickers this morning everywhere, are all kind of lighting up a little bit, every vol product that we follow is now at a new all-time low, I believe, which is none of us are complaining about that this morning for sure.
No.
Yeah, but everything I look at, we are right at all-time lows for UVXY. We're 3 ticks away, if we're not there already. So again, this is like the inflation thing is still out there. It moves the market around, but I do feel like we're now kind of in this trading range of 5,000 to whatever the top side is. I guess the all-time high. What's the all-time high for SPX? But now I feel like we're kind of in this range. I think it'll be a tradable range for a while, until something moves the apple cart, right? So if I have time for my trading vehicle, I have a little trade for that. But I think this is the range we're kind of stuck in, to be quite honest, because we'll get a couple more inflation reports, but nothing. There's no really like great news to propel things. So that employment was good. I mean, it was good that we grew jobs, but it's, you know, I mean, you got to
It's an
say what it
election
is.
year.
It is a slowdown, right? It is a
We have to
slowdown.
remember it's an election year.
It
Yeah.
is. So back talking just circling back to Apple. This was what I was thinking about. I'm sorry, it wasn't 2014, it was 2013. In March of 2013, Apple bought back $30 billion worth of their stock for $215. These buybacks are not what you want to hear as an investor, folks. I know they sound appetizing, and firms like that are and firms that are doing that, they get a little bit of a boost. But if you go out several years, firms engaging in these massive buybacks. I mean, Apple is, what's the market cap on Apple? It's
a little less than 3 trillion.
It is the market cap is on Apple is $2.7 trillion. So they're buying back 3% of their market value, almost 4%, and people think that is a sign that this company is growing. It's the opposite.
Do you remember
Apple's turning
Boeing,
themselves
Mark, in
into AT&T.
2019? Do you remember
What?
Boeing 2019 when they bought back stock? I think the stock was $400 or something.
Yeah, Boeing engaged in a massive stock buyback rather than working on making planes that continue to function. and how did that go for them? It was not a good time for Boeing. They bought the top. The absolute top of Boeing was in March of 2019, and it was $450. Boeing is down 67%. Folks, this is not investment advice. This is not tax advice. This is not legal advice. Apple is toast. It is done. It is done. Now,
I think it needs to trade 200 first.
It may still move a little bit higher here short term, but the glory days, they'll pass you by. And guess what? Those glory days, Apple was walking in, I was walking out. Let's just put it that way, to quote the boss. And yeah, the stock is done. Folks in chat, folks listening in, what do you think? Am I right or am I wrong? Feel free. I want to hear. Is Apple? Where does Apple trade first? All right,
200 first.
Where does Apple trade first? 250 or 150? Oh, what were you gonna say, Alicia? What do you think?
I think it needs to trade 200 first, and then I think it can roll over.
All right. So Apple is trading 170. Apple closed yesterday at 185. So where does it trade first? 250 or 100? What do you guys think? Let us know. All right. So we hit on Apple earnings. We talked about non-farms. Let's it is 8:58 or 8:55 right now. We've got a couple other earnings that I want to maybe hit on. AMD and SMCI. They are in my opinion, the big chips until NVIDIA came out. AMD just absolutely disappointed everybody. And Alicia, what do you got next for AMD?
AMD's only up just over $1 here, $1.60. I thought AMD was revisiting, so that's 140. Yeah, AMD still has to break above 148 to get a rally here. Yesterday could be a little nice doji, and it could pop up with today's huge rally everywhere else, needs to close this gap to 158. But like I say, watch the 148 level. If it cannot close above there, AMD's going lower. But as
Andrew,
I said, over 148, get a close over 148, and it could be the bottom there.
All right. So we're looking for 148 on the upside, and the downside is well, it's down there.
You need a close over 148 to get the rally.
Yeah, folks, correction. Apple closed a little over 173 yesterday. I was looking at where it was currently trading. And Leisha, would you show this? We were looking at Apple earnings, and now, Leisha, these pitchforks are, I mean, I'm a believer. Call me a monkey because I'm a believer. And you were Apple is currently 185 and 25. And you were showing me in the pitchfork, Apple gapped exactly to the top of the pitchfork that you would set for Apple.
Yes. Last night it was 183.5, and that's the top of my pitchfork right there. 183.5. Now it's up a little. It's up a tad. 185.
Well, it's up against your other pitchfork. It's bouncing between the two of them. Is what I'm saying.
So, as I said, 200. I think it's going to climb and retest the 200 level. It just has to get there before it can roll over. And it's really not that far. We're at 185 here. This will become new support, though.
It's found new support?
Well, 183.5 will be the new support if it trades above, up to 185. 183.5 will be the new support.
Well, there you have it, folks. 183.5 support. It's trading 185.30. So there you are. People are liking my subtle music references, Andrew.
I kind of like, now it's in my head all day. I'm freaking 100 times. I'm going to sing that song in my head.
The Monkeys.
Dun, 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 dun. Then I saw her face.
Andrew, what was your so we talked Apple. We looked at we had Leisha look at AMD. What was your take on my personal feeling was AMD was the most important earnings of the week because it kind of set the tone for where AI and chips were.
Right.
And chips have really been leading the market. AMD fell flat. Do you think I'm right, or do you think I'm wrong, or what do you think?
Well, I think you're right until the 22nd of May. Like if we wanted to see real rally, the real go-go rally, I think those earnings had to be good. Like they had, because the stock is, it's priced for perfection already. It's priced for 3 companies taking over the world with AI chips and stuff like that right now. The fact that they didn't kind of hit those numbers takes a lot of heat out of the upside of the market, I feel. Like, say for today, all of a sudden, I think today is a big relief rally. Just getting us back to 510 where we were last week. But yeah, I think for the market to power up above 525, 5250 SPX, AMD had to really, they had to bring it. They had to shock people, and they didn't do it. So
they didn't do it.
I agree that you need those chips to power stocks higher. You need things to be super fabulous because they're at super fabulous valuations right now.
All right. Well, speaking of super fabulous valuations, our stock of the week is Apple. You, me, and Leisha are going to write up tonight. If you're a subscriber to the Pit Report, you're going to get mine, Andrew, and Leisha's breakdown of what Apple's going to do. And then on Monday, we're going to do our ticker highlight show where we come up with a potential trade idea in Apple. I think I already did my best. Normally we would do Leisha's going to be the judge. She's the judge, jury, and executioner. Normally we would start with our, you and I picking bull and bear. I don't know that after my soliloquy, I can actually, reasonably make the bull case after that. So everybody's heard my bear case. Andrew, what's your bull case for Apple? Why could Apple go? Why are Apple's buybacks the most brilliant thing they've done, and why is the stock going to $300? Tell me.
I mean, bullish case for Apple. Obviously, buyback is one. It puts a floor under the stock, so that gives people confidence. They can still spin and make up some AI junk, which the market and the robots will believe. So I think that could give it some sort of small bounces. But I think I would say any bullish case is a baby bit. It's a baby bull, whatever you call a baby bull. It's not a big bull. It's a baby bull, but we could bounce on AI and stuff like that. But I would say that's the best you're going to do with Apple at this point.
And I'll say it one more time. Apple is not going to be the largest company in the world until someone with vision steps in and Tim Cook is gone. Tim Cook needs to go.
Yeah, you need somebody
Plain
impressive.
and simple.
Like, who are you going to find? I don't know.
You know what? I think you would do a better job. I think Leisha would do a better job. In fact, I don't think Leisha would do better. I think Andrew would do a better job. I know Leisha would do a better job. That's my take.
Oh, please.
What do you think, Leisha?
Yeah.
I know you said it's got to go to 200. When it gets 200, are you going to be bullish or bearish?
I will be bearish. I will be watching this line, and I will watch it roll over and trade lower. I think it has to trade 200 first. Mark my words here.
All right. And we're gonna hop into Andrew's trading vehicle here in a second, but I wanted to quickly go through a couple of stocks you and I both like. Our very first show. Do you guys remember the stock I said to buy our very first show, which was, I want to say,
Qualcomm?
It was Qualcomm. And when was our first show? Was that in February?
December.
All right. Our very first show was December. Leisha, where was Qualcomm trading in December?
I think 110.
It was back here. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Well, December had a pretty good beginning of Dece was down here, 130,
Yeah.
traded to 146, pulled back down to 135.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just took off.
Yep. I think when I said to buy, it was trading around 125. And it's now 183. That's a 50% win in 6 months. You're welcome to everybody who caught the first show. Not bragging, but actually I am 100% bragging.
Hey,
the
it's
name
okay.
I like is
You were
Triple
right.
M. Hey, can you say that one more time?
You were right. Good call.
The stock I like is Triple M, and near term it looks like it's really toppy. But if you go out to its all time, if you went all the way back to 20, I mean, it is basically trading at its lows from 2020 during the COVID sell-off. Yep. Prior to that, Triple M had not been below $100 since 2013. So it was coming off after this big sell-off and the settlements. It was coming off an 11-year low. It pays a nice dividend. This is a name that I'm looking to add in my own personal portfolio and put in like my kids and things like that. All right, Leisha, you wanted to look at. Oh, sorry.
Well, let's look at Triple M real quick. Look at the downward channel it's been in since way back, May of 21. Yeah. And now it is busting out of that channel and beginning a new trend, which is an uptrend.
Nice.
Go, go, go.
Yeah.
That was great.
The future looks bright.
And Leisha, you wanted to look at
Triple M.
You and I were talking about this one yesterday. This is one I know your shoppers are looking at, Option Shopper. That's Alicia. If you're interested in trading pitchforks and candlesticks and trend lines with Alicia, and you're looking for someone who also knows options better than just about anybody, that's Option Shopper. That's her product. And I know you've got your people trading IoT. Talk to me about this.
We're looking for IoT to trade up to the median line here, 39.5. And then that coincides with these previous highs here. And then we'll see what it does once it reaches there. But yeah, we bought some calls yesterday.
What call did you buy?
May 17th. We bought May 17, 36s.
The 36s? Well, you're going to be happy because IoT is up over $1 pre-market. So way to go, Option Shoppers. Well, not way to go yet. It's not closed.
Yes.
But, but once it closes, it'll be interesting. Speaking of closes, if you want to learn how to open and close and you want to, you know what? I don't have a great one. I don't have a great transition this week. That I should have stuck with Apple a little longer and gone with the Apple.
No,
you know how Apple. Andrew, did you know Apple canceled their Apple Car?
They did.
Yeah, they did. But you know what? Option Pit will never cancel is our Option Pit car, otherwise known as Andrew's trading vehicle. In this section, Leisha and I are gonna go relax and go for a walk while Andrew walks us through how he's approaching trading today. Take it away, Andrew.
Thank you. So I noticed something on the calendar which was a little odd. Ruben, if you could put up the first slide. Now, this trade is your people are going to look at this and go, "Gee, Andrew, you're really smart." When I was looking at Nvidia yesterday, it wasn't up $25 from where I was looking at it. So this trade is going to look really smart today. I might have to adjust the strikes at the open a little bit. But my thought was on March 22nd, May 22nd, you have Nvidia earnings. And on May 22nd, you have VIX expiration. So the kind of trades I put together in Option Pit, I like to use VIX with equities or VIX with SPY or, VIX with just about anything in a combination. So this is not what I would call a beginner trade, but I'm looking at, I'm like, okay, Nvidia is going to trade 900 before earnings. That's a lock in my mind. It's the next big number. It's right there. So what I thought was to try to create a positive carry trade. I was looking at the 900 calendar, May 17, May 19. Now, granted, we're almost already there now. It was $35 away when I was looking yesterday, but it's there. It's getting there. We're only about $15 away. I think it's a lock to trade 900 by the 22nd. But again, big number rule, getting close to a big number. You got earnings coming out. People are going to get excited. They're going to forget about AMD. They're going to look at, Apple. They're going to look at other stuff. They'll get excited going into the earnings. So the idea of the calendar was to create a positive carry. So that's one side, right, of the vehicle, the positive carry. The second part is the fact that with VIX expiration that day, we're going to be in a lull between kind of now and then. So I would stay away from the May, but as a hedge, I would look at a June contract in VIX. So kind of like, okay, you get your long market delta with Nvidia, and then you would have your short market delta via VIX. I could see VIX kind of going up and down a little bit, but right now the contango that we're in, the relative cash VIX level, I don't think you have a lot of dollar decay risk in VIX calls until May expiration. There's some there for sure, but not very much. So the idea is to buy, again, VIX calls in June. So if I was doing the calendar, I had the calendar priced around $7 yesterday. It's going to be more today. I might go up 5 handles like 905 or 910. I don't like that, but I will. And then buy some VIX June calls. Now, from a calendar point of view, by selling those May 10s, that's like an $8, $9 call. So you could probably buy 3 or 4 VIX June 18, 17 calls. Again, not investment advice. This is just what I'm going to do. So you have the calendar with positive decay, and then you have the 17 calls in VIX for the moonshot if anything happens between now and then. So basically, the vehicle as a trade is you want to carry to NVIDIA earnings. I think the market will roughly stabilize. We'll kind of have some gyrations here. You'll get a little adjustment down in VIX, 1325 maybe tops. But the way the term structure is set up, you're not going to see a lot of collapse in the June future from the current level. It'll go down a little, but not a ton. So you have a relatively low risk holding the June 17 calls, and you have the potential for the calendar to pay you pretty decent money. Everything works out great. You're going to get your June 17 calls, June 18, 17 calls for credit, which then you can trade around that position. So all of that probably made no sense to anybody listening, but you can use VIX calls as a trading vehicle to hedge equity. It's not a perfect hedge by any stretch, but it does kind of give you a hedge on the surprise if something happens in the market. But anyway, I think NVIDIA just kind of does this sort of up and down thing, gravitating toward 900 into earnings. And that would be the trade. Oh, so one more thing here. If you could flip to the next slide, Ruben. Picking VIX calls. What I like to do is see how the call performed on the last spike. So again, it's not perfect, but it's going to give you an idea of performance of the VIX call when you're moving. So if you look at the chart right there, I'm showing this is the performance of the June 18, 17 call over the last month. It spiked above 2.5 to about 2.5, 275. So if right now they're trading $1. So if I buy 4 of them, it would completely pay for the premium NVIDIA if we had some kind of market route like we had those surprises over the last few weeks. So it gives you an idea of how many calls to buy. Anyway, so that's my trading vehicle. If the trade is still there, that's what I tend to put on. If NVIDIA already goes to 900, in my mind, the thesis is done because it already did what I wanted, and I will move on to something else. But this was the idea I had. And, the rally was so huge today. I don't even know if I'll be able to get on for a decent price because my calendar is going to be too expensive. But that was the idea. It looks really good right now. And now we're on to the end of the show because we got 1 minute left. All right, Mark, Lisa, come back. Save me.
All right. So we've got
awesome ride, Andrew.
We got a couple minutes left. We're running obviously we're running up against it. As we're closing the show, S&P futures are up 53 points, up 1.06%. Andrew, the straddle for today was $40, and yet again, the straddle is if I buy an at the money call and I buy an at the money put. So I'm looking for movement away from where the market closed. If I bought that straddle, I'd already be up massively. We're up about 55 handles. That's 55 points for those that aren't X4 traders. What's your take on what the rest of the day is going to look like, Leisha and Andrew?
I believe the top will be the opening. I think we'll be up on the day, but I think the top will be the opening.
There you have it, Andrew.
I like that one. I mean, we might run a little bit, but I'm trying to look to maybe exit some VIX puts today. Because I mean, again, I feel like this is all the good news that we can get. It is a little specious to me, but the market's up. So I think it's a good day to exit some of, if you have some longs there. And then I would expect next week to be a little bit more quiet. Like I think this NVIDIA thing is a deal, and it will somewhat calm the market down, at least I feel the upside will be muted somewhat over the next couple weeks.
Well, I'll tell you, we have blasted through every moving average that I'm looking at. The 21 day was 50.90. The 50 day was 51.29. I don't like the market near term. I got to be honest. But this number, they appear to be buying it. At the end of the day, I would fade it, but I would not be. I hope Leisha's right, but I would not be surprised if today goes parabolic, and we have one of those crazy rallies.
Okay.
I would.
It could happen.
My preference is Leisha and Andrew's take, but last week I said that we were gonna turn around and we didn't. And so this week I'm just gonna go with I'm gonna say the trend is my friend and just say maybe we make a run at 51.75, maybe even we're up 90 points today, something crazy, something stupid. Maybe that's my best take. I don't know. We'll see.
Stupid bullish.
That's what I'm taking. Speaking of, but you know what's not stupid and bullish is the three of us. We hope you had you learned a few things here and got some great takeaways. This was Option Pit Live. So for Andrew T. Giovinazzi, the Viking of Volatility, the Vicar of the VIX, and Leisha J. Leslie, the Queen of the Candles, the Duchess of Doge, I am Mark Sebastian, your only option. And this was Option Pit Live. Have a great day.
All opinions expressed by Tradier Hub contributors are solely the contributors' opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Tradier nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Hub contributors as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of their opinion. The contributors' opinions are based on their own personal research, but neither Tradier nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries warrants its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. Any trades or positions discussed or referred to by contributors may or may not be actual live trades or positions. Such information is not intended to be financial or investment advice. Tradier Inc. is the parent company of Tradier Brokerage Inc. Tradier Brokerage Inc. and Tradier Inc. are separate entities with their own products and services. Securities products and services are offered through Tradier Brokerage Inc. Tradier Brokerage Inc. is an independent subsidiary of Tradier Inc., all rights reserved, member FINRA SIPC.